Long-run layers are layers all over your head, creating lots of movement and volume. This is my sister Taz. We're going to be giving her a long-run layers haircut. This haircut gives life to any type of hair, especially if your hair is thick. This is what it looks like. Okay, let's begin. Starting with wet hair, since it's easier to cut, create a center part. Use your nose as a guide if you find it hard to create a center part, since the nose is usually in the center of the face. Ignore the little guy in the back, he likes watching. And try to make your part as straight as you can. You're going to be creating this part all the way to the back of your head. Again, try to keep it as straight as you can, but don't worry if it's a little off. So this is how it should look like from the back, going to the front. Now, from the top of your head, create a slightly diagonal section to the top of your ear. Try and keep this pretty straight as well. We're going to be clipping this section away. This is what our first section should look like, from the top of the head going to the top of the ear and keeping it fairly straight. When you repeat the same thing on the other side, you should end up with 4 sections. Clip all those 4 sections up. This is how the head should look once you're done sectioning. We're going to be starting in the front, so remove the front 2 clips. Keep the back clip still. Now from the very top, take ½ inch from each side of the part. Taking ½ inch from each side of the part will give us 1 inch section in the center. Again, try to keep your lines as straight as you can, but they don't have to be perfect. I personally think layers look better when they're not perfect. You should have a 1 inch section like this in the center. Clip away the hair that's on the sides. We don't want it in our way. When you get better at this, you won't need to clip it away. Good shears are usually around $60. We're going to be using our index and middle finger to hold the hair. They should slightly overlap with the middle finger on top. This will give us a really firm grip on the hair. Decide how much you want to cut off. If you have long hair, it's better not to cut off too much. 2 inches or 3 inches is just enough. Take your scissors and using your middle finger as a guide, cut the hair straight across. Be gentle and careful not to cut yourself. You can also point cut the hair. Point cutting the hair means you're cutting into the hair to create a jagged effect. This gives you more movement and makes it look more piecey. Point cutting is my favorite. Now let that piece fall and release the clip on one side only. We're going to be using the hair we just cut as a guide to cut the rest of the layers in the hair. If your hair is drying, you can re-wet the hair to make it more wet. Wet hair is easier to cut. I always spray her in the face on purpose because she can never sit still. Don't do this to a client. Now, from our center part, we're going to be creating a pie shape. A pie shape is a diagonal section that starts off small and gets bigger towards the end. This will make your layers look more stacked. So this is what your first pie-shaped section should look like. Now comb that pie section straight up. Remember, always comb straight up. Your guide will be in this section. See how the hair is shorter here? That's where we're going to be cutting to. Start combing the hair straight up. If some hair falls out, it's okay. It usually happens in the front when you have bangs. Those pieces are shorter and they're going to get cut later. So comb it straight up and cut the hair that's longer than the guide. You can either point cut or you can cut straight across. Now, comb most of the section that we just cut and put it to the other side. Leave a little bit of hair to use as a guide for the next section. Now we're going to be creating another pie shape. I always talk about food in my videos. What's wrong with me? So keep creating pie shapes, comb it straight up and cut it, and then create another pie shape, comb it straight up and cut it until all the hair on that side is cut. Copy the first step exactly. Pie shape, straight up, cut. Now, moving on to the other side, create an off-center part so that we have some of the hair that we already cut on one side. Clip the rest of the hair we just cut away so it's not in our way. Now repeat the same thing on the other side. Create your pie shapes, comb them straight up, and cut to your guide. You're probably going to be doing about 3 pie shapes on each side. Now that the front is cut, let's move on to the back. Take out the clips in the back. grab some hair from the front. We're going to be using this hair as a guide for the back. You don't have to grab a lot, just a little bit, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So this is what your section should look like. Now create a 1-inch section in the back, just like we did in the front. And just like we did before, comb the hair straight up and find your guide. See how the hair is shorter? That's where I'm going to be cutting the layers. Now snip away. Now let the hair fall and create a pie shape on one side. Comb that pie section up and cut to the guide. The same steps that we did in the front, we're going to do in the back. Once this pie section is cut, you're going to let it fall and create another pie shape and another pie shape until the hair is cut on one side. Now let's repeat the same thing on the other side. Create a slightly off-center part and move it to the side we didn't cut. Now create your pie sections, comb it straight up, and cut the hair to the guide. Keep repeating these same steps until the other side is cut. Remember to always have a small piece of the guide in every pie shape that you have. Yay! We just layered our hair! Now that we've finished layering all of our hair, we're going to move to the front to create some bangs and some layers to frame our face. If your hair has dried, just re-wet it again. As you become better at this, you won't need to wet the hair over and over again, but I love cutting wet hair. It's just so easy. Just like before, comb all the hair back and create a center part. This time, the center part doesn't have to go all the way to the back of the head, just the front. Now, from 2 inches from the front, create a diagonal section to the top of the ear. So this is what the section should look like. It doesn't have to be very big. Repeat the same thing on the other side and try to keep both sections as even as you can. Now, we're going to be creating a triangle section in the front. This triangle can be as big or as small as you'd like. The bigger the triangle, the heavier the bangs are going to be. Now comb that hair straight down and figure out how short you want to cut it. Remember, as hair dries, it rises, so it's going to be shorter than when you cut it when it's wet. Start off long and then you can go shorter as you go along. Now take that hair we just cut and lift it up at an angle. We're going to be point cutting these hairs. Point cutting the hair will make the bangs look more blended instead of heavy. If you like your bangs heavier, then go ahead, leave them like that. You don't need to point cut them. Now create a middle section again. The bangs we just cut are going to be your guide to create an angle. Now take your scissors and slide it down the hair. Be gentle and take your time. This takes some practice. You want to create an even angle going down your hair so that the layers can frame your face. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Be gentle with your scissors. If you're rough over here, you're going to create a hole. Now once you've cut your angle, you're done. I'm just going to apply some product in her hair and I'm going to blow dry it for her. We'll be back to show you the finished look, so stay tuned! So here's what the haircut looks like when it's dry. If you have colored or highlighted hair, this haircut is amazing for you. Now she's going to have a lot of movement in her hair, and it's going to give her great volume. This haircut is great for mixing long and short pieces together. See how her hair is still long but she has short layers? Thanks for watching! Bye!